How to avoid reincarnation. Well, over the years from talking with my angel, I know definitely that certain type of suicide get to avoid reincarnation. You know, let me go back from the beginning. When I was young, and I don't know remember how young it was before middle school. So let's say it was like the fifth, sixth, and seventh grade. I started coming out of my body. And I thought I was doing it behind my angel back. You know? I thought I was doing it behind God back too. See, the normal process, when the angel started taking me out of my body at the age of 4, the angel would come and actually pull you out of your body, me and my brother Cedric. And we always felt good. We looked down like, wow, because we floating, you know? So that was the process. In most out of body experience, an angel pull you out. You might not see it, but most of the time an angel pulling you out. And but all of a sudden, like I say, maybe the sixth or seventh grade, I started coming out on my own. Especially in 6, I kept trying to pop that cord. Because, you know, I was going through extreme bullying and all that. And find out later that the way God was preparing me to become a real history maker. God had a lot to do with bullying, but I started from the bottom. God started me from the bottom. And President Clinton said that was the only way God could train me for my journey. Like everything in life, as a chosen one, you start from the bottom. You get the worst of a situation can get. Like President Clinton said, I bet when your car break down, the dealership can't even fix it. My heart dropped down to my ass. Like, how do he know that? Because every time my car break down, can't nobody fix it. I have to take it to the dealership. I take it to specialist. Nobody can fix it. But my 2 personal mechanic get to play with it, you know, for a long time while I'm working every day. And they normally figures it out here and there. But President Clinton was right. So basically suicide. One day I was sitting on the bed. My angel was next to me. And I'm like, how you sitting next to me? You ain't pulling out my body. She said, look back, David. Wow. I didn't know I was out my body. Man, I've been up for hours. I even took out food for breakfast and went out to the house to use the bathroom. She said, you wasn't in your body, David. We know you coming out of your body, David. And we know you're trying to pop your cord. God sent me to talk to you about suicide. You just ain't been coming out of your body by mistake, David. God grants you that. And when he grant you that, you start coming out. And he told me to let them come out on their own so we can see what he's going to do. And she said, the first thing you do, David, is try to commit suicide. Let me tell you about suicide, David. If you would have committed suicide, you would have been recycle. You would have repeated the same life over and over and over, and each time it get harder and harder. Each time you recycle, your life get harder to make sure you get it. And you don't want to be caught in that loop, David, of repeated life, which is the closest thing a human can have to hell. Is a restless soul, David. I'm like, what can I say? The lady caught me, and God knew. So but when you young, you be thinking you can outsmart everybody, and I learned in the long run that the universe see everything. You can't hide nowhere. You can go 100 million trillion miles in the ground. The universe still see you. You know why? And this is what the angel told me. They judge you by your thoughts also. The universe is writing 2 books about you. They write in the books about your action, which is like a life story, and they write in the book of your thoughts. Ain't nothing you can do. Not even a psycho killer cannot think about killing. If you kill somebody, it's in your thoughts. If you steal, it's in your thoughts. If you hate, it's in your thoughts. Everything you do is in your thoughts, so in no way of hiding, no way of being slick. Like people, I know a bunch of church people. I never saw a good church person. Maybe one. And these people steal. They commit adultery. They sneaky. They slimy. They cruel, rude. And they walk around with their Bible like, I can do anything because God will forgive me. It don't work like that. First of all, God don't forgive that easily. Because it's written in stone. Once you do it, it's written. It's in the universal library up in heaven. Quit trying to fool God. Anybody who think they can fool God is pure evil. And when I say it, I tell them that. You pure evil, man. Pure evil. But anyway, the angel told me to avoid that, and she said, the type of suicide you trying to do, David, is avoid a mission. You're trying to avoid this contract. This part of the contract which you signed with God. If you don't repeat the life, you're going to do it over and over again. And I say, do that go for all suicide people? She say, no. It's millions and millions of situations, different situations for suicide. God take every situation into account individually. If you commit suicide because you just can't handle life no more, you just can't deal with reality no more, them type of suicide, when you come to heaven, God let you get all the rest you want. You can rest for millions of years if you like. God no pusher. He let you learn at your own pace. And it's up to you with certain type of suicide. It's up to you to decide whether you want to come back. If you decide not to come back, you stay at the level of heaven you earned when you committed suicide. And let's just say after 100 million years, you decide, well, I want to try for a higher level. You're welcome to try anytime you want. God don't hold that against you. But the type of suicide where you're trying to avoid your journey, or where you decide to take others with you. Like Before you commit suicide, you kill your wife and kids, or you kill your family member, mama or daddy, or you kill your best friend, or you kill your girlfriend. Them are the hardest suicide what God dislike, and God dislike them. Just because, since you decided to take your life, you're going to take other people's lives. You don't know how they were going to turn out in life. You don't know whether or not they wanted to stop living at that moment. You don't have the power. Once you take somebody else's life, you is interfering with a person who signed a contract with God. And people say, well, how can that happen? Is God signed a contract, look like God to protect you? No. We got free will. Since we got free will, we got wiggle room in all our lives. We got wiggle room. We got exit points. We got choices. So if God was to protect us, it won't be no free will. Because he wanted to see what each individual would do. So when this person say, well, I'm going to kill myself and kill my family, that's part of free will. God don't interfere with that. And my angel broke it down to me. You know what I mean? She broke it down to me. And it can't get no simpler explanation than that. But each suicide, it'll look at individual. Because in many different situations, billions and millions and trillions of different situations. But if a person just burn out, can't do it no more, and decide to be a drug addict and OD, God don't punish them. God comfort them. Most suicide are comfort. God comfort his children, lost children. He don't punish his lost children. Now, he dislike the person who decided to take his family with him. He punished for taking other lives. He ain't punished for committing suicide. I hope I explained that well. And also, people who already done reached eternal life status and they decide to come back to earth, they don't be reincarnated again. It's 100% up to them if they want to be reincarnated. But you must already be at that eternal life status, because once you reach eternal life, you decide whether or not you want to come back for another experience, not God. And then the two types of situations that can avoid reincarnation. People who already got eternal life status, people who had suicide, and I'm quite sure it's a lot more other reasons and ways you can avoid reincarnation. Thank you, and God bless.